Welcome back to Get Real. This is your host, Erin Thomason, and I'm joined today by Jim Desrosiers from Growth Co. Jim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Growth Co. is based here and you do organizational and talent development.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us what that means.
Sure. So bottom line is that we help people and organizations reach their maximum potential success and happiness.
Okay.
And we do that through, with businesses, we do it through consulting and organizational development work, helping a company identify its ultimate vision, today's mission, and then making sure that employees, through training and executive coaching, we make sure employees aren't just surviving today's to-do list,
Right.
but they are also simultaneously proactively moving the organization towards that desired vision.
Okay. So like optimizing.
Absolutely.
The business,
So it's process, it's training, it's soft skills, anything that the individual, the human being needs to be a better leader of themselves and maybe of other people, better communicators, better goal setters, time management folks.
Okay.
Anything that people need that not only going to help them at work, by the way, but in their personal life as well.
Yeah.
Maximizing productivity of people, driving them towards that ultimate vision that we spoke of.
Okay. You have actually done some work with Ross Mortgage as well. 17 years strong, sounds like?
Yeah. We've been around. Growth Co's been around since 1994. And soon after we started, I met Bob Gallagher and his dad, actually.
Yeah.
And then I worked with Bob Jr. first. And then he had such great results through our goal setting and sales program that he wanted us to work with his entire organization.
Yeah.
So we worked with not only the people that did sales and loan origination, but also the back office folks in operations as well. And in the programs that we did, we almost doubled their sales, and at the same time reduced the amount of time it took to process mortgages from 45 days all the way down to 28 days, which did two things. It greatly improved the cash flow for the company, but it also allowed existing staff to not only sell more, but be able to process more with the same people.
Right. Well, that's good. That's the goal, huh?
Absolutely.
I am actually currently doing a training with you, which I'm excited to share a little bit about. But you brought with you an interesting statistic. So we are here in the beginning of February. So a lot of folks are, coming off their January resolution focus. So what is it that you shared about resolutions?
Oh, yeah. Well, New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
80% of all New Year's resolutions are typically broken and not achieved, 80% of them. And most people fall off by mid-February, which it is today, which is good timing for this radio show.
Right. Okay. So I think that it's kind of prime time to speak to anybody out there who might have also fallen off the resolution wagon. It's not quite mid-February, so there's still a chance to get back up and going. The program I'm taking with you is called GAP, Goal Achievement Program. And I was really interested in doing that, and Bob was kind enough to allow me to do that because I needed some help with kind of just focusing on what the goals were and really getting specific about setting those goals and breaking down how to achieve them. So something that really resonated with me from your program is doing monthly planning. So illustrating the point that if we don't plan to take the time to do what's important to us, then the time will somehow disappear and be used on something else. And we'll be left wishing that we had used it differently.
Absolutely.
And then, 1 week turns into 2 weeks, turns into a month, turns into 10 years. And those resolutions are still not achieved. So can you talk a little bit about kind of where you start in terms of goal setting?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to start with knowing what it is that you do want to achieve. And what I'm finding in today's very, very busy and noisy world with all the technology we have and emails and text messages.
Yeah.
And it seems like everyone's overworked these days and just trying to survive each day. And then, like you said, all of a sudden 10 years goes by.
Yeah.
So what we do is we get people to stop and breathe and then think about, how do you think you're doing?
Right.
You know, you have all these 8 areas of life like everyone else does. So let's take one area of life at a time and assess your current satisfaction level, your happiness level, your what you want to achieve in that area of life. And let's start to identify where you are.
Yeah.
And then where you ultimately want to be with this one existence that you've been given, and that's going on. But we need to stop time to get people to identify where they're at, where they want to go next, and what's that ultimately going to lead them to. And we get very, very specific about that. We don't let people say, like, we want better relationships or we want to exercise more.
Right.
We get very, very specific with folks so that once you have your goals identified, we can break those goals down into action steps that you aren't interested in doing, but you're absolutely committed to doing them every single day, so that you're proactively producing and creating a very specific life for yourself.
Right. So that was another one of the big things that resonated with me, the difference between interested and committed. We're interested in a lot of things. All the good things in life sound pretty interesting,
Right.
I think, on a day-to-day basis. Oh, I'd love to do that someday. I really should do something. But when it comes down to, making it a priority, is it I didn't have time for it, or it wasn't a priority? And so I feel that a lot of folks have an idea of what they should be doing, maybe what their friends are doing and what TV says we should be doing. And so, they want to lose 10 pounds, or they want to, whatever, do some specific vacation. Or I think it's important to, like you said, all the different areas of life, to really take a look at what is important to you as an individual. It's not the same for everybody. And then you can determine what those goals are. For me, I knew I had, about 8,000 things that I wanted to do. But when you really break it down, there are some things that are just more important than others. And so focusing in on that and using your energy to make progress there, one, is more efficient, and two, eliminates all the negative feelings that you have when you don't achieve those lesser goals. You don't have to beat yourself up for not doing something that truly isn't a priority for you, as long as you're focusing on what is a priority.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like that was a little convoluted, but that's how I think.
Well, I think the exercise that even people right now listening could do is, on a piece of paper, write down the areas of life, health and fitness, your career, your relationships, how you feel about yourself and your inner growth, your role in the community, your finances. Write down every area of life that you can think of, and then rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, how you doing in each area of life.
Yeah.
And if you're rating yourself a 2 or a 3 or a 4 instead of a 5, well, that's okay. It's okay. You are where you are. But what is a 5 for each area of life? And that's where people start to get more vague and more cloudy, and they don't have a crystal clear image as to where they want to take themselves, their family, their career, their company, their world. So if we don't have a very specific destination in mind, we're driving around in a car not knowing exactly where we're going, but we don't want to be where we are.
Right. Right.
And that's just a definition of insanity right there. Yeah. You have to have a destination so that every day you're living it with intention. And that's what I think people are missing today. They're good people, and everyone's trying to do the best they can, and they're reacting to all the noise in the world, and their emails coming in and all this stuff happening, but they're not the creator of a very specific existence.
Right.
And that's the gift that we give to people. We have a process, identifying specifically where you are, where you want to go next, on your way to where, and we put it on a timeline, and then we use your time management and your calendar and your communication systems to be able to say, all right, every single day I'm planning so that I don't just have a day or survive another day. I'm going to use every 24-hour period with intention.
Right.
And this is how I'm going to use this day to move myself forward, my family forward, my career forward, and achieve predetermined goals. And then that way you're creating an existence. You're not a victim to this thing called life.
Right. When you say goal setting, it sounds like a pretty simple concept, but there's a lot to it, and it's really a mindset shift, I've found, and it's empowering to take control of that.
Totally.
Not be reactionary every day.
And someone who is like yourself, you're a career person, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a thing, you help out in the community. You have all these roles that you've taken on. You need to give yourself permission in this crazy busy world to be able to stop and breathe and reflect and think and then plan the next month, plan the next day.
Right.
And really give yourself permission to do that when you think you don't have time to do that.
Right.
Well, I typically ask people, how's that working for you?
Yeah. Right.
If you're not where you want to be in your life and you're not heading towards very specific goals that you're enthusiastically pursuing, then it's like being in a kayak without an oar. You're just going to wait to see where the tides put you.
Yeah.
Instead of you having that very specific destination and knowing how you're going to use today to get yourself closer to that destination, and you're tracking your progress along the way.
Right.
Don't be a victim in life. Be a creator, but that means you have to take the time to stop and think and demand things out of each day and yourself and others, quite frankly.
Right. And sometimes just identifying that is the biggest hurdle initially. So you had mentioned that you typically stay far away from the gym in the beginning of the year.
I do. I'm the opposite of the people who set New Year's resolutions, right? Right.
So, because you're saying that, it's flooded. The gym is flooded in January and February. And then, by the time March rolls around, you get to get on the treadmill first again. But what would you say to the folks that are coming in January and February and then leaving by March? Is there something that they could be doing differently aside from just, not showing up anymore, that can help them achieve whatever goal that they had set for themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. And first and foremost, please understand that it does not have to be December 31st for you to set a resolution or a goal.
Yep.
I put myself through this goal achievement program that you're taking right now, and I put myself through it every year because the world does get noisy and sometimes knocks me off of my plan every now and then. So I have a process to get back on the horse and get back on track. For people who are either slipped or they fell off their goal, or don't think of it as a failure.
Yeah.
You still have a breath in your lung. You're still on this side of the grass. There's still a chance for you to take you and your family and your company and your world anywhere you want to go. So get back on the horse and try again tomorrow. But go into tomorrow with a game plan and not with interest. Go in tomorrow with an absolute commitment.
Yeah.
My exercising and doing things with my family and certain things in my career, my highest priority behaviors that I know I need to do despite how noisy the world is, those things are in my calendar in bright red, and they are called my non-negotiables. It's like brushing your teeth or putting on deodorant in the morning. Exercise is not an option. Making sales calls or taking care of clients is not an option. Managing and developing the talent of my employees and people that report to me, that's not an option. Those are non-negotiable, intentional activities that are getting done today and every day, and I'm tracking those on a daily basis. Something else to do is whether it's working out or it is going out to community events to meet people or sales calls or whatever, find yourself an accountability partner. So, surround yourself with people who have similar goals and have a similar commitment and desire and passion. Make sure, first and foremost, you're surrounding yourself with people who are committed to excellence, because you will become the average of what you surround yourself by. So surround yourself with other people who want excellence, and then publicly announce your goals to them. And if you can, have them meet you at the gym at 4:30 in the morning, so that if you wake up and you're tired, it's not so easy to not go to the gym if someone else is there waiting for you and counting on you to show up.
Right.
So get an accountability partner, again, not just for health and fitness and exercise, but for any goal in life.
Yeah. You had talked before about helping someone identify maybe a better way to achieve a goal that they had. I think you said that they wanted to do like a Tough Mudder race, and that had, a certain level of impact on certain areas of his life. And so you've flipped it into a different activity that would not only satisfy the fitness area of life, but would also add to relationships. So, maybe that's something that you can talk about.
Sure. This was a guy I met with yesterday, and he's a business owner who also has to do sales for his company and manages employees, and he's a dad, and he's a husband, right? And then he's got his health and fitness goals. So he's got all these other areas of life just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, he thought he wanted to increase his health and fitness, and he wanted to start doing like Mudder type events. But that would take him away from his family and away from his business and away from his community and his kids and everything. So we took a look at his areas of life, and we said, what's an activity you can do, one activity that would simultaneously improve multiple areas of life at the same time? So he decided that on Saturday mornings, they would do something muscle-powered outside as a family. So they decided on the first week they were going to take trash bags and gloves, and the whole family was going to walk up and down their street and then on a nature trail, and they were going to pick up the trash along the way.
Yeah.
Well, what we're thinking is going to happen is that they're not only going to spend time together as a family, which increases the relationship area of life, it's also going to promote health and fitness because they're outside, they're walking, they're getting fresh air. While they're picking up trash, they're improving their community, so that area of life goes up. And then they might even meet neighbors who they've lived next to for 30 years and haven't met them yet,
right?
Because they're outside
so common now.
walking down the street. Right, exactly.
Yep.
So with one activity, you can see how one activity could actually improve satisfaction and fulfillment in multiple areas of life just with the same activity.
Right. Or if there's something that you're doing that you're finding, particularly difficult to face each time, maybe approach it from a little bit different direction.
Sure.
We are just about out of time. So, Jim, you do have another GAP program coming up in April, which is open to the public. If anyone is interested in attending this training, I have found so much value in it so far, and we're not even done yet. It's April 10th. It's called GAP. And if you want to do that, reach out to Jim Desrosiers at GrowthCo. The website is growthco.com, and you can also email him at jimd@growthco.com. Jim, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that anybody who did fall off the wagon out there is inspired to try again and keep moving forward. So,
absolutely. Thanks for having me, Erin.
Thanks so much. We'll be back after this with more Get Real.